And then she sort of, reaches out, opens her palm, beckons me to walk with her to the front. So I go to the front with her, still not sure why this is happening. And then she turns around and smiles and then gives me this piece of paper, right? And remember, yeah, after 3 Omkars, I don't know what's happening. And she says, read. So I looked at the piece of paper and guess what it was? It is the thought of the day.
Sairam, dear listeners, welcome to Sai SOUL 100. Our guest today is Brother Lasantha Vedande, who is joining us from Fairfax, Virginia. Sairam, Brother Lasantha, welcome to Sai SOUL 100.
Sairam, Prabha, I appreciate the opportunity. Sairam, and hello, everyone.
Thank you. Please share your story.
I was born and grew in Sri Lanka. I was born into a Buddhist family, surrounded by Buddhist teachings, surrounded by all those rituals and practices of Buddhism. But of course, there were plenty of occasions where we crossed paths with Swami, because there is a lot of Swami devotees in Sri Lanka. There are bhajan centers, sort of ashrams that people go to doing Sai bhajans and Sai work. So the concept of Swami is nothing new in Sri Lanka. It was nothing new to my family, but my nucleus family as a whole, we practice the Buddhist teachings more than follow Swami. But we have very close family relations who are Swami devotees. They have been to Buddha Party. They have had audiences with Swami. They have got advisors from Swami. So when they come back, we used to, sit around and, listen to Swami stories. So, all that is a little engraved in the mind. So this is all kind of now, percolating in the background. So for me, one of the things on the Buddhist cultural practices is that it's really cultural Buddhism. You just do the ritualistic things. You really don't focus on the teachings of the Buddha, but do the alms givings and go to the temple and say the verses and the chantings and all that. So whilst it's important to get your mind into the right mode for meditation or for worshiping or for even for to get your mind calm, it's really not something that really didn't resonate with me, because there was, I always feel there was kind of something lacking. I mean, we were spiritual, but that does, you need to be moving beyond spirituality. So that's kind of my early upbringing in Sri Lanka. And then, you fast forward many years, finish up my secondary education, finish up my tertiary education in the US. And here, I came to the Fairfax area, to Virginia. There are a few temples, so I patronize those temples and the Buddhist temples. So many years ago, this is really a turning point for me. Many years ago, there's a significant thing that happened to me, significant activity. A friend who was really a follower of Swami, a devotee, has been telling me, for months and months and months, come, you will enjoy this because you're a spiritual person. You will enjoy going to the bhajans and, getting involved in this and, doing all that. So finally, one fine Sunday, I guess I didn't have anything to do. So I relented and went along. This was in Bethesda. I distinctly remember people who had the bhajans in Bethesda, they have come to Fairfax Eye Center. And I've heard that auntie and uncle talk about, Sai and their experiences, but none of those knowledge, it wasn't knowledge for me at that time. So anyway, I went into the hall, it's my first time in a bhajan hall, people are, doing their thing, and I kind of, wandered to the back. But, some of the things that struck me almost immediately was that the discipline, right? How respectful people are, how orderly people were, how wonderful people were, in communicating with themselves, talking in soft voices, no harsh words, no harsh tones, very soft, but very welcoming. It's phenomenal to experience that because you don't expect it. And then you see all the shoes and the things, all stacked very neatly together. Ladies on one side, the men things on one side. Immediately you get that sense of discipline, which is very rare and which is very uplifting and heartwarming. It's amazing, right? These people, they are very focused. They're setting up the hall. They are, bringing the speakers or whatever, and then people knew their roles in what to do and how to do it. So it was a new experience for me. So I sit at the back. I don't know what to expect, right? First time in Bhajan, only experiences through my family. And in the distance, I see Swami's picture. I see his, the chair and all the other things that go along with it. It's a very serene scenario, very calming, and I think that's really a key aspect of it as well. And start the session and say the three Omkars, and then I see this lady getting up, in a beautiful sari, and now she's walking to the back, very very calmly, one by one, and coming all the way to the back, and now she's kind of looking at me directly, and I'm a little scared now. Okay, what's going on? um, and comes directly to me, and then stands in front of me, and then sort of, she kneels on one leg, so give me this wonderful smile. So like my worry now sort of evaporated a little bit, because I figured I had done something wrong and somebody was going to come and chastise me or what have you. But that smile sort of, took that tension away. And then she, reaches out, opens a palm and says, come, beckons me to walk with her to the front. So I go to the front with her, still not sure why this is happening. And then she turns around and smiles and then gives me this piece of paper, right? And remember, yeah, after three Omkars, I don't know what's happening. And she says, read. So I looked at the piece of paper and guess what it was, right? It is the thought of the day. Yeah. So now I'm kind of, getting a little emotional. I'm not sure what to do, but and then I look around and the lady, she's disappeared. I don't know whether she, whether she went sat down or whatever, but I have no concept of that. So now I'm reading the words of the thought of the day. Nothing is sticking in my mind because now my mind is racing, my heart is racing. So I read the thought of the day and then went back, sat, and then all the time I'm just thinking, what just happened just now? Why was I chosen? There are so many other people, right? And here I'm sitting all the way in the back. All these thoughts are going in my mind, and then the bhajans start, and I sort of slowly regain my composure and begin to think, this is something phenomenal that happened. I need to understand what happened here, right? So while bhajans are going, I'm thinking, but then my mind is not allowing me to think. My mind is allowing me to get indulge in the bhajan, indulge in the bhajan, indulge in the moment. So this was kind of, overwhelming me now. And I had little time to think about, what just happened with the thought of the day. So Prabha, I think that was my first introduction, real introduction to Swami. So I thought, there's something going on here. There's something going to be great here. So then from then onwards, I began to read, books on Sat Sai Baba and all that, get indulged into it, to understand his message, to comprehend his delivery, and to really understand what he says. Because remember, I come from a teachings of the Buddha background. And when I start reading, I see the so many things that are common to each other. So I don't know, I'm a scientist engineer, you should look at the two Venn diagrams, right? And you look at the two circles, and the two circles that intertwine are, almost as big as the two independent circles, because there's so many things in common in the teachings and in the way things are taught. So from then onwards, my kind of life turned. Sunday evenings were spent at the center, going to bhajans, and I use the time of the bhajans as my meditation time. And it energizes me, and it energizes me. It energizes me for the day, for the week. And, I couldn't wait for next Sunday. Put everything aside, my planning for the week starts with Sunday bhajan, getting there early to help set up, and then after that, clean up. But that those 2 hours, right, were spent. My weeks were spent planned around those 2 hours. So that is how I kind of, got into Swami's teachings. And that's really the most important thing. So, I mean, people talk about, Swami's miracles and all that, but I think it's all to get you in. And my miracle with Swami was the thought of the day. I wasn't, I had more to do. I had more to go. I had more steps to go. I had a, road ahead of me. So, um, and and the people at the center, first in Bethesda, then, when I moved to Fairfax, the people in Fairfax, absolutely phenomenal people, loving kindness, radiating love, radiating care. It's just, I build relationships with people. They became my family. And, embracing Swami's, his thematic is, love all, serve all, right? So I sort of became the service coordinator, did that for a number of years, just, propagating all that. So what really Swami really awakened me is the spirituality of me. It's a goodness that's in all of us, right? But most of the time it's hiding, it's veiled in the daily grind. It's with all the chores and the duties that we have, but we have to find the time. And my time was Sunday bhajan to bloom it out and then propagate it to other aspects of the day, other aspects of the week, and other aspects of my life. Um, so my spirituality has now transcended to really understanding the true nature of existence. But I'm forever grateful to Swami for reeling me in to develop my own spirituality through him, through the teachings of the Buddha, and through my own inquiry. I think those are the key things for me. And for that, I think I have become a better person. I have become a more understanding person, and I have embraced things that I didn't think that really mattered. And then I have begun to talk less, and I began to listen more, and it's amazing the things I'm listening to, things I'm hearing, because now I have opened my mind to listen and not to talk, and not to be overindulging over somebody else's conversation. I think that's really helped me to help me in my relationships and help me to grow up as a person.
Sairam, Lasantha, thank you so much for sharing your story. Actually, before I wrap up, I have a couple of questions. You said Venn diagram, right? And
Yes,
there's an overlap.
yes.
What were the things that overlapped for you that compounded on each other for you to have that elevated experience?
Absolutely, great question. So Buddha's teachings center on precepts, and when I look at Swami's teachings, those precepts, do no harm, say nothing bad about others, don't take what doesn't belong to you, and your general behavior, all those things fall within that Venn diagram. So there's a lot of line items that you can do, but at the end of the day, yeah, they are both two spiritual people talking of the same things, right? How does that work? Somebody existed so many eons before, somebody existed so many eons before, and now in a current life. And then as a result of that, I started reading about Christianity. And then I realized, yeah, they also talk about their 10 commandments. It all falls into this. Oh, now I have to put three balls in my Venn diagram, right? So yeah, so those are the common things that everyday practices that we should be practicing that really helps you to build up as a person. Yeah.
Sairam, Lasantha, thank you so much. It's actually interesting. I think we take going to the center for granted sometimes, particularly when we go week after week after week. We actually forget the power
Mhm.
that Swami has chosen for us to walk into that center every single day, right?
Indeed,
And
indeed.
for that first day for you to walk in, and then
Mhm.
just the watching the discipline, right,
Mhm.
is the draw. And I think you'd have been awed by it anyway. And then all of a sudden, Swami recognizes you, calls you forward. I mean, at that time, you may not have realized the meaning of the thought for the day
Surely.
and the act of Swami calling you to
Mhm.
read for the thought for the day. But after becoming Swami's devotee and having read his material, his
Mhm.
and practicing his teachings, hindsight, when you look back, that's a true privilege.
Right? Exactly, Prabha. That's very well succinctly put. That's really and of course, you walk into that, you have no comprehension, right? But then after many years, here's the real, here's how he recognizes people and how they, how how he develops spirituality in people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the time was right, he made you walk in there.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing, right? And then I look at, some of my people I associate with, my friends, and say, when is your time right? And then I try to force that issue and it gets blocked,
Yes.
right? So, yeah, people have to be in their own time and frame and path to experience some of these things. So you can't force some things. It just doesn't work.
And the reason I find your story to be pretty powerful is that it's not like um, you had been exposed to Swami before. You have had family members who's gone and seen Swami. At that point, your curiosity could have taken you to that level. But you had to be ready for it. And Swami called you when you were ready for it. Then your growth is personal.
And absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's the lull, again, going from cultural Buddhism to really understanding the real teachings of the Buddha. There is that gap, and this is how we fill the gap, right? And now I'm reading both in parallel, right? And yeah, it's an amazing experience. It's phenomenal.
And Swami does say that, I'm not here to create a new religion. You just want me to be a better Buddhist. Right?
Indeed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what does being a better Buddhist or a better person? It's really being a better person, so that you can execute the purpose that you were put here at this particular time. Yeah.
He helps us to move beyond religion and the oneness and the truth of who we really are. So,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
a lot to be grateful for.
Oh, certainly, certainly.
Sairam, Brother Lasantha, thank you for joining Sai Soul 100.
Thank you, Prabha. Really appreciate the opportunity. Sairam.
Sairam, dear listeners, thank you for listening to Sai Soul 100 with Brother Lasantha Vedanta. I'm Prabha Swaminathan. Until next time, Jai Sairam.